Here is an uncomfortable silence that settles into the lives of many women after a certain age. It is not a silence of peace, but of exhaustion. It is the sound of someone running at full speed. Whilst the scenery around them remains motionless. You know this feeling. You follow the rulebook. You restrict. You move incessantly. You deny yourself basic fuel, believing that deprivation is the only path to transformation. And the result? The mirror reflects an image that does not correspond to your sacrifice. Your vital energy seems to have been drained, replaced by a persistent brain fog and a body that seems to be fighting against you rather than with you. Conventional wisdom told you that you simply aren't trying hard enough, that your lack of discipline is to blame. But what if I told you that the manual you are following was written for a completely different machine? That the signals you are sending to your internal architecture are, in fact, triggering an emergency protocol that blocks the very results you seek? Today, we are not going to talk about diets or workouts. We are going to talk about recalibrating your biological operating system to the reality of female physiology. It is time to stop fighting a war you were programmed to lose. For decades, human performance science has committed a fundamental error of navigation. It was assumed that human biology was universal, with only minor differences in scale. Most of what we know about how the human body processes energy was mapped onto young male organisms. But your internal reality is not linear. It is cyclical. It is governed by a complex orchestra of chemical messengers that fluctuate not only over the course of a month, but over the seasons of your life. The core problem is not what you eat or how much you run. The problem is a catastrophic failure of communication between your actions and your biological command centers. When you apply popular strategies, long periods without fuel, followed by hours of repetitive, grueling movement, you think you are sending a burn signal. But your body, with its ancestral wisdom designed for survival and reproduction, interprets this very differently. It receives a signal of famine and danger. In the face of this perception of chronic threat, your system enters preservation mode. It will not release your energy reserves. It will protect them fiercely, especially around the vital organs in your midsection. Simultaneously, to reduce the cost of keeping you alive. It begins to dismantle your most expensive and valuable structure, muscle tissue. You end up in a paradoxical state. Exhausted, structurally weakened, yet carrying protective reserves that refuse to leave. You haven't failed. Your body is, in fact, trying to save you from the crisis you have inadvertently created. Oh, understand how to reverse this. We must acknowledge the architects of your internal structure. There are two main regions that dictate how you respond to stress and fuel. Let's call them the builder and the protector. During the first half of your fertile life, and in certain phases of the month, these architects work in relative harmony, allowing you to tolerate more physical stress. But as time advances, and especially during the critical transition that occurs from age 40 onwards, the influence of these architects begins to wane and oscillate unpredictably. The natural buffer you had against stress disappears. And here is the critical point that has been ignored. Without this natural buffer, your body becomes hypersensitive to a third element, the panic signaler. The panic signaler is essential in short doses for immediate survival. But the modern lifestyle, combined with chronic endurance exercise, those hours on the treadmill, and a lack of essential nutrients, keeps this signaler turned up to the maximum. All the time. For female physiology. Especially when internal architects are in flux, chronic panic is devastating. It instructs the body to store everything that comes in and to slow down all non-essential systems, including mental clarity and vitality. The cause of your stagnation is not a lack of movement. It is an excess of panic signals. So, how do we switch off the alarm and convince the body that it is safe to thrive again? We need to change the language we use to communicate with it. The first shift is in fueling. The old approach was about less. The new approach is about strategic support. The most common mistake is trying to operate the machine on an empty tank, especially before demanding effort from it. This is an immediate invitation for the panic signaler. The new rule is, never demand performance without first providing support. We need to supply the fundamental building blocks for structural integrity. The female body, in a constant state of renewal and fluctuation, has a voracious need for these essential materials to maintain its lean mass, the very furnace where energy is generated. If you do not provide these building blocks through strategic intake, the body will strip them from your own structure. You need to signal safety through nutrition. This means abandoning the glorification of prolonged fasting when combined with high physical demand. It is about nourishing the structure so it can withstand the storm, not starving it in the hope that it shrinks. The second shift in language lies in movement. Forget the idea of burning through duration. The goal now is to send a signal of fast adaptation. Your body needs an imperative reason to maintain and build your muscle and bone structure, especially when the natural internal architects are no longer there to do it automatically. Repetitive movement of moderate intensity, that endless running, does not provide this signal. It merely increases the noise of panic. What works is the opposite. It is the brief but significant imposition of demand upon your skeleton. It is lifting something that requires your total attention for just a few repetitions. It is a stimulus of pure strength. This sends a clear message to the nervous system. We need to be stronger to survive this. And when we need conditioning, it is not about duration. It is about maximum intensity in minimal windows of time. Think of the explosion of a feline hunting, not the migration of a herd. These short, sharp signals build resilience without triggering the chronic panic alarm. The transition from fighting against your body to working with it requires courage. It requires abandoning the tools you were told were the only right ones. But emerging science, focused specifically on our unique biology, is clear. The path to vitality, to a healthy body composition, and to sustainable energy is not through subtraction and suffering. It is through strategic support and intelligent stimulus. Stop sending danger signals. Start sending signals of strength and safety. Feed the structure. Demand adaptation, not exhaustion. It is time to install the operating system that was made for you. Thank you for watching until the end. Subscribe to the channel for more relevant health information.